All right, Tennessee Tech first-year head coach Bobby Wilder. Coach, fire away. Give us some thoughts on what you think about this Golden Eagles team this upcoming season.
Absolutely. First of all, excited to be here. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for your time. Been here for 8 months. Absolutely living the dream. I love it here at Tennessee Tech, Cookeville. What a great place to live. We're working towards building a successful football program over these 8 months. The goal right now for us is to get everybody in the organization focused on the process of winning, and that's all about every day. Our planning, preparation, execution. The program philosophy is aim high. And what we're trying to do every single day from the moment our feet hit the floor until our head hits the pillow at night is to just get a little bit better, just keep stacking good days. And I feel really good about where we are. We've got a good mix of returning players from last year, guys that are good football players, they're good people. And then we've had some success with what we were able to add through the portal in January, guys that were with us for winter workouts, spring practice, and then what we were able to do in the April-May portal period, along with some really talented high school players. So excited to get going. We open with camp July 31st, and we'll have a month of camp leading up to the opener at Middle Tennessee on August 31st.
Thanks, Coach. Again, if you have questions, let me know down in the chat. We're going to start first with Dan. He is from Prairie State Pigskin, covering the FCS teams in the state of Illinois and other OVC Big South teams as well. But Dan, if you want to go ahead with your question for Coach.
Nice to meet you, Coach.
Same here, Dan.
Knowing that your son plays for Eastern Illinois, did that help you with the familiarity of the league as you come into it as a head coach?
Yeah, that's a great question, Dan. I spent last year was my son's first year at Eastern Illinois. I actually spent 9 days out there in the fall. I'm good friends with Chris Wilkerson. He invited me in to be part of meetings with the staff and look at the program. Obviously, neither one of us knew at the time that I was going to end up as a head coach at Tennessee Tech, but being able to watch all the teams play last year, the fact that the league has a package with ESPN Plus, it definitely helped with the familiarity of the league. Just that time I got to spend with Eastern Illinois watching games, and then being able to watch the league throughout the season was definitely very helpful, Dan.
Thank you. I look forward to talking to you more this season.
Thank you, Dan.
Then Brian from the Cookeville Herald Citizen. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, Coach. I was just kind of wondering maybe what are some things that we can expect to see from this team that maybe we haven't seen from other Tech teams in the past?
Yeah, I'm not going to speak to the Tech teams in the past. I haven't studied the past. I've spent my time, and our staff spent our time looking forward. So speaking about who we want to be as a football program, we want to be a football team that, first of all, we're excited to play. We play with a lot of energy. Our guys compete every time we take the field, no matter who the opponent is. Offensively, we'll be a pro-style team. We'll be multiple personnel-wise, formationally. Defense, I felt it was critical to maintain the structure we had here last year. This was the number one defense in the league in a number of categories. So we've maintained the 4-2-5 structure that we have based on returning players and their strengths. And then special teams wise, we'll be multiple. We'll look to gain advantages in field position through special teams, and in a nutshell, basically be the type of football team that looks well organized, looks detailed, looks competitive, and always looks like they have a plan to win football games.
I know you start with a couple of two road games, probably pretty tough road games. What's it going to feel like running onto that field the first time at home against Tennessee State?
Yeah, I'm very excited about that, especially with what I've learned about the fan base here, the people in Cookeville, the fact that the last 3 years Tech has led the league in home attendance, while not necessarily having the level of success they wanted. That shows loyalty from a fan base and a community. This area Cookeville, Putnam County. They're excited about the team. They're excited about the possibility. I know they'll come out and support. So I'm very much looking forward to that first home game, September 21st against Tennessee State.
I know after having a few years off, it must feel good to be getting back out on the field. Kind of talk a little, maybe talk a little bit about that of getting back into coaching and this team and what it means to be able to shape these young men.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking that question, Brian. And having a few years to step back, look at it from a different lens, professional develop. Traveled to a lot of different schools, was able to take a lot of really good notes and really assess what the next step was in the next job. And when I interviewed for this job back on December 2nd and met with President Oldham and AD Wilson, it was a very direct conversation about what the program needed to move forward. What did the program need to have success, and all of those steps they've been willing to take. President Oldham's made it very clear he wants the football program to grow the same way the university is growing. And for those that don't know, this is the #2 ranked public institution in Tennessee, and the campus is growing. There's 9 different projects going on this campus right now. So the president has a vision not only for the university, but also for the football program. He sees the football program as something that can bring tremendous value to the institution. So it took that type of a presentation from a president to get me excited about getting back into college football. Obviously, there's been a lot of changes, guys, from when I left Old Dominion, particularly where we've gone with the transfer portal, how that works, collective name, image, and likeness. And, those are all areas that if you work at it, if you have a detailed plan, those are areas you can be successful with. And that's our goal, to do that here at Tennessee Tech University.
It's an exciting time, Coach. Thank you for answering my questions and look forward to what the season holds.
Yeah, my pleasure, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach, Brian alluded to it, but the things that are going to happen at Tucker Stadium. Can you speak a little bit more about that and how that'll help shape the program, down the line?
Yeah, absolutely. Really excited about what's taking place at Tucker Stadium. We're currently in the demolition phase. The west side of the stadium, which seated 8,000 people, our stadium total seats 16,000. So the east side will host the fans and the press box and the media for the next couple of years, and then the west side is in the demo phase. It'll be approximately 2 years. It's a $57 million project. We've got great partners from the state, from Cookeville, from the community, Putnam County, helping us with that. That'll host a brand new state-of-the-art locker room for the players, other areas we need underneath for support staff, and then outstanding seating and amenities for the fans with club level suites on the top level, top of the line press box for those of you guys sitting out there that like a really good press box with a good spread. You'll find that in Cookeville at Tennessee Tech. So that's taking place right now. We're also in the midst of fundraising for a football operations center, something else that'll be a state-of-the-art facility. So a lot of exciting things are happening here at Tennessee Tech.
We saw on social media you were out there with Sledgehammer yourself, starting some of that demolition. How did that feel to get a few hits in there?
Awesome. That was fun. It was exciting, helping to bring that west side down. And you can feel the energy in the air. You can feel it on campus from the team, the coaches, supporters of the program. This has been a long time coming, and it's part of the steps that we need to take for the future of Tennessee Tech football.
We're going to go Mark Simpson here, my counterpart. He's got a question for you. Then if anybody else has questions, let me know down the chat. We got about 6 or 7 more minutes with Coach.
Hello, Coach. Mark Simpson with the Big South Conference. Excited.
Hey, Mark.
Joining the association and looking forward to seeing what you do with the squad this
Thank you.
years.
Appreciate that.
Kind of expand on your opening statement, just kind of the culture change, some of the points of emphasis that you've been making with the squad, either during spring practice and entering camp, just to kind of, shape what the squad's going to kind of become.
Sure, absolutely. I want to be quick to point out again, guys, that there's some really good football players that were on this team last year. Coach Alexander and the staff did a really good job in recruiting. You know, you guys know sports, you follow sports. They had trouble scoring points last year and issues at quarterback, which not unlike what happened to me at Old Dominion. So those guys did a good job. There's a good talent base here. Was able to bring back a couple of the defensive coaches from last year. So I feel good about that transition. Unlike when I was hired in 2007 at Old Dominion, there wasn't a program. We didn't have players. We didn't have facilities. Everything was the ground up. This job is different in that there was a quality base of players and returning coaches from last year. The goal from the moment that we got here, Mark, was to create our culture. Create our culture as a football team, to teach the players what the aim high philosophy is, to get the players to learn what it means to focus on the process of winning. How do you plan? How do you prepare? How do you execute? That's been what we've done the last 8 months. The players that were invigorated with the system we put in place starting back in January. They worked their tails off their 8-month program. We had that combination of returning players and 14 new players that joined us in January out of the portal. So spring practice, we were able to make some progress. We had some issues with numbers in offensive line and defensive back. We weren't able to do everything we wanted, but it was a good baseline. And then what we just added, 18 players from this April-May period in the portal that are here this summer. We have 80 players on campus that are training. They're getting to know each other. So we're still in that process, Mark, of getting the systems implemented, offense, defense, special teams. As much as anything, it's here's what the new culture is and getting the players to adapt to that. Because I feel strongly, Mark, I don't care what it is, football or life, what can you fall back on when adversity sets in? And that's what we've really tried to focus on implementing with this football team.
Thanks, Coach. And my next question for you, kind of you alluded to it as well in a different answer, but getting back in, how it's changed in that short amount of time. How have you personally figured out how to navigate the portal and all the various changes, recent changes, to still be able to take on this responsibility?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mark. That's friends that I have in coaching, head coaches, FBS level, FCS, done a lot of research the last 4 years since the portal was instituted. And it's interesting. You get different philosophies from FBS to FCS, how guys handle it. When you look at the structure right now in guys in college football and look at the different levels, you know, obviously the FBS, the Power Five, whoever they want, they get. And they have the means now with collective to compensate for the value that's added by a player. You look at the Group of Five, that's a struggle right now. If I had still been at Old Dominion, that would have been a major struggle because you're losing a lot of your best players to the Power Five after the season. There's ready video for those Power Five schools to see of Group of Five players and say, okay, that guy can play here. That guy's a good football player. Whereas at the FCS level, from what I've seen so far, Mark, and the research I've done with other coaches, it's not as big an issue right now. I think it will be as these collectives grow, particularly at the Group of Five level. We're fortunate right now, this first year at Tech, we did not have number one, we didn't lose a lot of players in the portal. I got here quick enough to meet with the team and set the standard, but we were able to really add value to our roster from the portal. And for a coach that's coming in new somewhere, the fact that if you have a system in place, we have a general manager, director of player personnel, Justin McMullen. We put a system in place right away. You know, how do you evaluate 15,000 players in the portal over the course of 8 months? So we put a system in place to look for very specific needs that we had within the program. We focused on addressing the needs that we had. And for a new coach like myself coming in, there's an opportunity to add value to your roster. I think Chris Wilkerson at Eastern Illinois is probably the best example. His first year, they were 2-9. Last year, they were 8-3. Well, players like my son, who came from Iowa Western, players like Pierce Holly, a Georgetown graduate, and there's a number of other guys on the roster. But the point I'm making, Mark, you can fix your roster quickly if you have a good plan and you know exactly where you need to add value. So there's guys in this league that have done Chris is an example. There's other guys that have done a really good job with that. And I feel like right now, Mark, if you break down the three levels, Power 5 or Power 4 now, they're going to get who they want. Group of 5, it's a struggle, and FCS, you can build yourself a pretty good football team if you've got a good plan in place.
Great. Thank you, Coach. Best of luck this year.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Coach, one more, and then we're going to go to your student athletes. I just wanted you to talk about Nate and Daniel are with us. Can you give us some quick tidbit on each of them and what you've seen from them so far, spring ball and so this summer?
Yeah, these guys are two of the anchors to this football team. They're guys that have played a lot of football. They played good football. The fact that Nate made the decision to come back as a graduate transfer, he and I spent a lot of time together in December. This was a big life decision for Nate. He's a good student. He's a good person. He was ready to go. And then we had some meaningful conversations, and he came back as a grad transfer, and being the center, being the guy that anchors things up front, was really able to help Coach Scott, our offensive coordinator, as we segued into our new offense. And then Dan was clearly one of the best players in the league last year. He's one of the top returning players in the league this year, a guy that was a rock on defense last year. And really, from my standpoint as a head coach, take their football ability out of this. It's the leadership piece. It's the fact that they've bought into the aim high philosophy. They've instituted it with their teammates. They've set a great example in the classroom, on campus, what they've done in the weight room for practice. When you're a new coach coming in, you need some guys, you need some alphas that are out in front of the group. And these are a couple of guys that have been instrumental in this transition to our new philosophy.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your part in joining us this morning, and best of luck to your team this year.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle. Appreciate you guys.